That is the number of people that die every year from opioid overdoses. According to the Federal Communications Commission, this is a number 6 times higher than it was in 1999. The question we must answer is, what has caused this steep incline in overdoses? The answer is simple: Purdue Pharma. Opioid abuse is a crisis that has played a major role in my life. Following a car accident, my close friend was prescribed OxyContin. The script would send him down a 3-year-long battle with addiction that nearly took his life. While those struggling with opioids have been stigmatized in a way similar to those who struggled with crack cocaine in the 1980s, this addiction often overtakes those who we would least expect. Something as simple as routine dental work could set someone down the tumultuous path of addiction. For those of us that are not medically trained, when we have an ailment, we rely on those to provide guidance. During the late 90s and early 2000s, these same medical professionals, most notably Purdue Pharma, utilized aggressive marketing campaigns that downplayed the risk of opiates. Lobbying strategies that resulted in regulatory failures by the FDA and the systematic targeting of marginalized groups that were at risk to abuse these medications in order to generate record profits, thus resulting in the creation of the opioid epidemic. As with the creation of any product, marketing is critical when trying to bring a product to market. From 1996 to 2001, Purdue conducted more than 40 national pain management and speaker training conferences at resorts in Florida, Arizona, and California. These conferences were attended by more than 5,000 physicians, pharmacists, and nurses. This type of pharmaceutical company symposium influences physicians' prescribings. Promotional items such as OxyContin, fishing hats, stuffed plush toys, and musical compact discs were frequently distributed at these events. These promotional materials being distributed to promote a Schedule II opioid are unheard of. The use of sophisticated marketing data detailing the prescribing patterns of physicians nationwide allowed Purdue to identify which physicians were the most frequent prescribers of opioids. By utilizing this prescriber data, Purdue was able to target these physicians, increasing the sales of OxyContin in these territories. From 1996 to 2000, Purdue increased its internal sales force from 318 sales representatives to 671, and its total physician call list from approximately 33,400 to 44,500, approximately 70,500 to 94,000 physicians, according to Van Zee, 2009. While Purdue Pharma's marketing strategies were inherently unethical, their lobbying strategies with the FDA allowed for their drug to reach the masses. The Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act requires drug manufacturers to demonstrate that their products are both safe and effective before they are marketed. The benefits of a drug must outweigh potential risks. The FDA did not properly enforce the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act when it approved Purdue Pharma's new drug application for extended release oxycodone in 1995. In 2017, the President's Commission on Combating Drug Addiction and the Opioid Crisis found that the opioid crisis was caused in part by inadequate oversight by the Food and Drug Administration, according to Colony 2020. By allowing Purdue to market their drug without restrictions, Purdue earned billions of dollars from sales of oxycodone. Several drug manufacturers took note and began flooding the market with opioid medications of their own. These manufacturers collaborated with Purdue to create a campaign that would change the culture of opioid prescribing. Prescribers who recognized that opioids are addictive began hearing from spokesmen for opioid manufacturers that addiction was rare and that long-term use was safe and effective. Prior to the opioid crisis, opioids were almost exclusively prescribed to patients struggling with the effects of cancer. The shift in prescriber behavior resulted in patients that would normally be prescribed ibuprofen and Tylenol now being prescribed high dosages of opioids. Patients such as veterans and senior citizens, whom were never prescribed opioids, were now prescribed opioids for extended periods. a treatment plan that will frequently result in addiction and even death. Certain regions in the country became high prescribing areas as a result of Purdue's targeting of vulnerable populations. Areas in Appalachia and New England have a high concentration of laborers. These people traditionally have greater issues managing pain due to the stressors of their work. Purdue recognized these needs and in turn dedicated endless numbers of resources to increase sales and influence prescriber behavior in the area. These maneuvers have resulted in these areas being affected by the opioid crisis at an exorbitant rate. As evidenced by Purdue Pharma's disregard for the people who make up the backbone of our country, their sole priority was their bottom line. Purdue Pharma utilized aggressive marketing campaigns that targeted vulnerable populations and ultimately contributed to the legislative failures of the FDA. Through the aggressive marketing campaigns that downplayed the risk of opiates, medical providers were influenced to prescribe harmful opiates at an alarming rate. These campaigns affected vulnerable groups throughout Appalachia and New England at a disproportionate rate as compared to the rest of the United States. Although dangerous, these targeted campaigns would not have been nearly as effective if not for the lobbying strategies employed by Purdue Pharma and various other pharmaceutical manufacturers, which resulted in regulatory failures by the FDA. These actions by Purdue Pharma is a primary cause for the opioid crisis in the United States.